everybody, and welcome to this space dedicated to personal growth as well as touristic places from all over the world. I'm Nadia Flores, and today we're going to be touching on a very important subject, which is the respect to the individuality of every person. We're also going to be visiting Polanco, a beautiful neighborhood in Mexico City. It's going to be amazing. This is Grow and Travel. Stay with us. Back in Mexico City, one of the most important cities in the world with over 25 million inhabitants. Isn't that crazy? Today we're gonna take you to one of the hippest and trendiest neighborhoods in this place, called Polanco. And of course, before we do that, let's go to a coaching message. Welcome to the first block of personal growth in this program. Today we're going to talk about respecting the individuality of each person. Because let's remember that whenever we are little, our parents, society, teachers and everything, they're telling us how to behave and how to be and how to operate and whatnot. And they do this by giving us maybe like something that we like as a praise. And then if we do something right, they give us that praise. And then if we do something quote unquote wrong, because nothing is right or wrong, right? In the end perspective. But they punish us, or they give us some kind of punishment for doing something quote unquote wrong. So that way they start to mold us. They start to tell us how we're supposed to behave and how we're supposed to be and do. And from there, we start to pick up the same behavior towards other people. Then we start to raise this expectations from others on how they should be, how they should behave, how they should dress, who they should date, what they should do with their lives and all this. And all of these expectations are coming from us, reflected upon them. So here is where it is super important to remember to focus on yourself. As long as the other people are not bothering you, there is no reason as to why you should ask them to change something for you. I must remind you, and I know this might not be easy to listen to, but nobody is here to fulfill our expectations, just as we are not here to fulfill anybody's expectations. So focus on yourself as long as you are okay. Don't worry about how others are behaving or acting or what they're doing with their life, because in the end, it is their life and there's a reason why they're choosing to be that way. When you ask someone to change for you, to fit your standards or to fulfill your expectations or whatnot, you are disrespecting their individuality. And this is why it's so important to remember that every person has their own willpower, and if they decide to change, it's going to be something that comes from within and not because you tell them to change and not because somebody else tells them to change. This is something that has to come from within. So in the second block, I'm going to give you 3 tips on how to learn to respect somebody else's, well, people in general, individuality. So stick with us. And after that coaching message, now I want to take you guys to see around Polanco. Polanco is one of the most important neighborhoods in Mexico City. It has so much culture, so much history, and so much fun. There's restaurants, there's bars, pubs, and people from all over the world. It's going to be amazing. Come on, let's get to it.
And back in Mexico City, we find this neighborhood that is a jewel within the culture and the history of the Mexican capital, Polanco. Named after the Spanish Jesuit Juan Alfonso de Polanco, who held an important position for Spanish royalty in the 18th century. This neighborhood is considered one of the most important and luxurious places in Mexico City, since its streets are home to multiple luxury hospitality businesses such as restaurants, bars, cafes, hotels, and other attractions that keep the locals and the tourists interested, entertained, and wanting to stay. Its nightlife is vibrant and there is much to see. We begin our tour on Avenida Presidente Mazarik. The history of this avenue begins in 1936, when it was named like this by decision of President Lázaro Cárdenas del Río in honor of Tomás Masaryk, the first president of back then Czechoslovakia, now the Czech Republic, who was recognized for his democratic politics and his human rights ideology. The government of the Czech Republic and the government of Mexico City unveiled a statue of President Masaryk in the area in the year 2000, which was donated by the city of Prague. Today, this avenue is one of the main road arteries in Polanco and is considered the most expensive and exclusive in Latin America. It's been compared to Rodeo Drive in Beverly Hills, California, for its lavish shops of various internationally renowned high-fashion designers. Beyond the high-fashion boutiques, Mazarik and its surroundings are known for their gastronomic offer, which is delicious, but as you can imagine, it is not particularly for the austere pocket. However, if you decide to invest in these chefs, it will be worth it as an experience for your palate and for your soul. In the streets of Polanco, you can also find the great variety of mixology offered by the lounges and bars in the area, always with music that calls you and invites you to stay. Masaryk is also an avenue that is enjoyed even without going shopping, because just walking through it is very entertaining and you feel an interesting vibe in a quite cosmopolitan environment, since there are people from all over the world. Perpendicular to Masaryk Avenue, we find various streets, all of them named after scientists, poets, and philosophers famous for their works. In these streets, the enigma of this neighborhood continues, since in fact it is a residential neighborhood with its beautiful Californian-style mansions, but also many of them today have been transformed into culinary venues, bars, lounges, avant-garde boutiques, and including offices of diverse and important brands of all kinds. Visiting Polanco at night is encountering a surprising and enigmatic energy and encountering the most important question: where do I want to go? Since this place has so much to offer, you know that wherever you go, you're going to enjoy and have a good time. Because there is so much to see and so much to experience that it makes you want to have more than one stomach and wish the night was eternal to be able to enjoy everything that Polanco has to offer. Another important site in Polanco is Linkin Park. This was the first park that was designed for the Polanco neighborhood. History tells us that the Mexican people greatly appreciated Abraham Lincoln for his courageous opposition to the U.S. intervention in Mexico in the 19th century. And for this reason, sometime later, it was decided to name the park in his honor. During the term of President Lyndon B. Johnson, the statue of Abraham Lincoln was given to the Mexican government, which is located in this beautiful park. Around Lincoln Park, we can find some of the first mansions and apartments built in the area, as well as modern office and apartment buildings, and yes, you guessed it. There are also plenty of restaurants, lounges, bars, and shops in general. Finally, we finished this tour at Oracio Avenue, named after the Roman lyric poet with the same name. This avenue has wide walkways that separate the streets, which allow pedestrians to enjoy the city even more. This avenue is also well known for its commercial life, although this area is slightly more residential and therefore quieter than Masaryk Avenue, and many of the businesses are more commercial than hospitality based. So after 8 p.m. at night, there is not much to do, and therefore it is perfect for a walk to appreciate the contrasting calm of the city. As you can see, Polanco at night can be vibrant and full of energy, or calmer and more relaxed depending on where you go. In another episode, we will be back during the day to show you how everything changes when the sun is up. Meanwhile, I'll leave you with these images as we transition to our second block of personal growth.
And after walking around this beautiful neighborhood of Polanco in Mexico City, it's time for us to go to our second coaching message of the day. So here we're going to talk about, of course, the 3 tips on how to respect the individuality of each person. So here we go. Tip number 1. Did you guess it? Yeah. Consciousness and self-awareness. When you are aware of what you are thinking in regards to what other person is doing, maybe they're not fulfilling your expectations. Maybe they're not living up to what you expect them to live. Maybe they're not changing the way that you want them to change, and they're not being who you want them to be. But guess what? It's their life and it's now or never. So leave them alone, okay? And from there we go to tip number 2, which is don't judge. You never know what people are going through or why they are making the decisions that they are making. You never know why they live their life the way they are living it, and therefore it is their decision, and we are here to just respect it. And that takes me to tip number 3, which is focus on the most important person in your life, who is who? You! Yes, you guessed it right. The most important person in your life is you, as I always tell you. So focus on yourself and focus your energy and your time on yourself. Don't worry about what anybody else is doing. Remember that nobody's here to live up to our expectations, just like we are not here to fulfill anybody else's expectations. So very important to focus on what matters and what makes you feel fine, what makes you feel good with yourself, what makes you feel vibrant and excited and happy and whatnot. As long as you're not doing something that is deliberately with the whole purpose of hurting someone, then your decisions are your decisions and you are free to take them and make them however you want to choose. So those are the 3 tips that I have for you today, and I really hope that you implement them to your life so that you can live a life more free and more fulfilling. And that's it for today, guys. I just want to say thank you so much for watching all the way through, and I also want to invite you, if you haven't done so, to subscribe to the channel and also activate the notifications button so that you can know Now, every Wednesday, we're gonna have a new video with, of course, a new place and a new subject in personal development. So make sure you do that. Other than that, this was Grow and Travel. I'm Nadia Flores, and we'll see you on the next one.